Welcome to the Limitless Ladies Network, a women's holistic wellness podcast where our mission is to help women build holistic self-care. The following disclaimer applies to all episodes and content shared on this show. The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of the host and guests and do not necessarily reflect the views of Limitless Ladies Network or its affiliates. The information and advice provided on this podcast are for general educational purposes only and should not be considered as professional medical, nutritional, or therapeutic advice. The content shared on this podcast is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease or health condition. Listeners are advised to consult with a qualified healthcare professional before making any changes to their diet, lifestyle, or health routine. By listening to this podcast, you acknowledge that you are aware of the limitations and potential risks associated with the information and advice shared on this show. You release and hold harmless Limitless Ladies Network, its hosts, guests, and affiliates from any liability for any damages, losses, or injuries that may result from the use of the information and advice provided on this podcast. Hello, and welcome back to the Limitless Ladies Network podcast, where we are limitless in sharing lessons to advocate and drive insightful, empathetic self-care. I am very excited today to have Jenavieve Hawks on with me again today, who's been a prior guest on our show from iSong Health, and she's actually going to read my eyes. So I'm super excited, Jenavieve.
Oh, me too. Thank you for having me back on and for being open to sharing what your eyes hold a little bit there so we can show the viewers.
I know this is going to get like real in-depth and personal here, so
We'll keep it appropriate.
Yeah.
Enough where you can get an idea for it, but let's not spill all your secrets now.
Right? Yeah. Let's keep some of those, we might want to keep them in the box.
All
So
right.
tell us a little bit before we get started on iridology. I know we did a prior podcast on it, but just as a quick reminder.
Sure. Okay. So I practice something that's called iridology, and what it is the science and study of the human eye, specifically the iris or the colored part of your eye. And what we find in there is it's more than just the windows to your soul, it's the windows to your whole being. A map of your entire body is in your eye and has different reflex points. So different pigments, different colors, different patterns, everything that's happening in your eye means something. That can be on a physical level. It could also mean something regarding different emotions you're processing or how you process emotions. We can see genetics. Your left eye, for instance, holds all of your genetics from your mother's side of things. And then your right eye holds all of your genetics from father's side. So we can even see more than just the body. We can even see the personality. We can see what you inherit from your ancestral lines. So I don't diagnose. It's important to say that this is not a science of diagnosing. We leave that for the doctors. I'm not a doctor.
Right.
But what we do is we use the eyes like a map or a blueprint, and we can assess different areas of genetic strength, as well as see any areas where there's inflammation. And we can also see at what level it's occurring. Is it chronic? Is it just starting? We can see a lot, basically.
That's awesome. I love that you can get so detailed on the the ancestral side and actually being able to discern between mother and father genetics, basically, or like their traits maybe, but also just looking at personalities and health concerns that may pop up based off of someone's eye color.
Yes, it's interesting because you hit it right there. Even the eye color alone means something. Whether you have blue eyes, hazel eyes, brown eyes, they all have certain predispositions or physical traits that we find in those colors more than the other colors. So, yeah, the color alone will tell me a little bit about your own eye there. So,
Can't wait to hear more.
yeah, of course. Whenever you want to read them, or if you have some more questions, I could.
So let's dig in. And before we get started, I know we actually met in person for the first time, which was a surprise to both of us. And I love that we connected and you actually took a picture of my eye while I was with you. But I know that you do some of this remotely as well. So you have instructions for people to be able to take their own pictures of their eye. I would
Right.
imagine that it has to be like a full open eye without
Yes.
anything.
So pretty much anyone that has a smartphone these days can snap a pretty decent macro or close-up shot of their iris. All I ask is just make sure that you send me both eyes, but also we want to see the entire eye. Not necessarily the eyelashes or anything like that, but the entire colored part of the eye, including even the whites. So,
Right. So it's
um,
more something that you probably want someone to take for you versus you taking it yourself.
yes, I mean, I do have instructions on my website if you don't have a friend or someone, how you can do it in the mirror.
Yeah.
There's all instructions for that, but basically, yeah, I can do this from anywhere. If you can't make it to my office, if you're not local, we can also do it over the phone or Zoom as well. So,
Fantastic.
mhm.
All right. Let's see what you see because I just see my eye color. So,
Okay, let's open this up. I have your picture here, and we are going to screen share. So
yep,
you
I
should be
see
able
it.
to see this now.
I can.
Okay, excellent. So here we have a shot of your left eye and your right iris. So when I do these consultations, what I usually like to do is I start off by telling you a little bit about the color because we want to get started with that first because that already classifies a couple different things, lets us know a bit about you. So let's start with that. Here, we see you have a lot of different color pigments. We have some bluish hues and greenish hues. We've got some yellowish. We've even got a lot of beautiful melanin brown pigments in here too. So, um, yeah, you're not necessarily a blue eye and you're not necessarily a brown eye. You're right in between. You're what we call a hazel eye, or in iridologist terms, we actually call you a biliary eye. So, it gets that name because usually biliary eyes or hazel eyes like yours tend to have more predispositions towards biliary issues. So that's things like liver gallbladder issues, um, digestive disturbances, or even pancreatic insufficiencies, or even immunity. Those are kind of the main things that we see with the biliary iris. Now, that's not to say you have all of those things or you're even going to get all of those things. That's just saying, based off of millions of different eyes that we've looked at and recorded the different traits and symptoms, predispositions, biliary eyes have the highest instance of liver gallbladder or pancreatic or even digestive issues.
Well, I
So,
can say that you're spot on because I've actually been to the ER for gallbladder issues and seeing a specialist. So you got
wow.
that one right.
Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that, but I'm glad that you've caught it and that you're working with someone on it.
Yeah.
Yes. You've got a couple different pigments too that even talk about the liver gallbladder. So, anytime I'm looking at an iris, I'm looking at more than just the full color here. I'm looking at the different little pigments here that we see it because it all means something. You're more than just a hazel eye. There's a lot more going on than that. Um, but here, what's interesting, you said that you've had liver gallbladder issues. Inside of your stomach here, or the gastric area of this eye, you see a lot of brown pigments happening here. And usually brown pigments, aside from just being a colorer, they can sometimes mean that there could be liver gallbladder tendency. So not only do you have the biliary iris, you have some pigments that could let us know, hey, there might be something happening relating to liver gallbladder. Um, and so anytime I see that, I like to actually check the area itself. So right here in the iridology, this would be considered the liver gallbladder area. And it's interesting because do you see some of this whitish here right now?
Right.
It may be hard to see on a small screen, but there's some light whitish areas here. This is not just the reflection of the flash or anything.
Okay.
This is actually more, it's showing me there's some raised fibers in the iris in this area. And so this definitely shows, yes, you may be experiencing some gallbladder pain, perhaps, or like you said, you've gone to the ER. It's really been talking to you lately, it seems.
Yeah.
Was this recently, or?
Yeah. Like New Year's.
Oh my goodness. Wow. Yeah. So it's interesting. Oftentimes we think the body is punishing us or something's going wrong when these different issues start occurring. But for me, with what I see, it's more of like the issues are surfacing, they're ready to be released. So it's not even that you're doing anything wrong, it's the body is finally ready to help clear some of this out because it looks like there's quite a bit of inflammation possibly occurring. Um, it's important to note too, because I meet a lot of people that may have some liver gallbladder tendencies if I'm reading their eyes. And oftentimes they will tell me, oh, that doesn't make any sense. I don't eat fatty foods. I don't drink. I take absolute pristine care of myself. And that is very important to do for sure. But once again, there are a lot of people that have fatty livers or gallbladder issues and they can't figure out why. And doctors can't even figure out why sometimes, it seems. Um, Part of it can be genetic. And if it's that, we can read that in the iris. For instance, you do have a little bit of some genetic traits showing here that there may be more of a tendency as you age for something like that to occur. But the other thing is we are so much more than just our physicality. We are vibrating cells full of energy. We're beings full of more than just energy, emotions, feelings. And
Yeah.
so anytime I see something regarding the liver and gallbladder, we'll talk about it on a physical level and what to do with it. But I also like to address the the emotional aspect as well, which on an emotional and spiritual level, or even in Chinese medicine, it's the liver and gallbladder that deal with particularly feelings of anger and resentment. And so, oftentimes, if I do see someone that eats very healthy, takes pristine care of themselves, yet is still having some misfunction of those areas, I like to ask them, is it possible in your life that you have felt some sort of great level of resentment or even anger about things that have happened, things that you've received? And, usually the answer is yes. Most of us are not a stranger to any of those feelings. I don't think I've ever met a person that's never felt anger or resentment. And it's not even to say when this is happening, if I see any issues with the liver and gallbladder, it's not to even to say you're an angry person or anything like that. Usually it's the people that stuff it down deep because they're usually very caring people. They've been around a lot of angry people in their upbringing and they see how it can act like a poison. And so instead of, screaming at everyone when things go wrong, they learn to hold it all in. We think sometimes we're doing everyone a service by not expressing our anger and processing that. But really, what's happening is it's just not getting processed, and it's doing us a disservice. And
Right.
so,
Our body is just like, okay, what do I do with all this energy, right? This negative energy.
right, absolutely.
Yeah.
And there's a lot going on in the world today. There's a lot happening in our personal lives. So I'm not surprised that there is such a rise with issues regarding liver and gallbladder. Um, and I think it's happening once again because it gets to a point where it builds up and then there's only so much you can take before it's time to release things.
Right.
So, um, yeah, usually if it is an emotional sort of thing or if we are having issues processing anger, I like to give people real solutions. And oftentimes they're not these crazy things that we need to do. It's not some complex thing that we have to go out there and treat all the time. Um, Sometimes even just working with the right counselor can help. But also for those that are looking to do something now, well, if that's not their style, I find if there is something or someone specifically that you've been holding a lot of anger or resentment on, or even a situation that's happened, I find that there's two things you can do. You can write it all down, you can burn the letter, get it all out, kind of process it that way. My other thing I really like to do is I like to pretend that the person is in front of me. I will often tell many of my clients to do this, whether they're processing anger, grief, sadness, things of that nature. But I'll tell them to go into their bathroom, lock the door, make sure you're totally alone. No one can bother you, where you can be totally vulnerable enough to release. Because sometimes that's why we hold on. We don't have that time to feel vulnerable enough and actually release. So we got to create it.
Right. We have to keep up that persona, that shield of protection, right? So it's a
Yeah.
good
Yeah.
safe
So
space.
let's make a little container and space for ourselves then to feel
Yeah.
protected. So just go in that bathroom, lock that door, look in your own eyes, or you don't have to, but I prefer to do it this way. And I want you to imagine the person in front of you that you're angry with, or that there's a lot of resentment or grief with. And you tell them everything that you've ever held in. I mean, you just let it rip. You may be shocked at some of the things that come out of your mouth, but the point is to release it, let it all out, not hold it in and hold back anymore. And they're not around. They won't be able to hear you. That's the point of going somewhere where no one can hear you and you can just release. And, you know, it doesn't change them, it doesn't change what happened, even. But what it changes is the fact those emotions are not just sitting buried inside you, festering, creating all kinds of, issues that can eventually physicalize, because emotions certainly do create chemical reactions in our body. And you have enough of them, it can either lead to really positive things or negative things. But it's really important to process. So, that's why I like iridology, because it gets to the root causes of things. Sometimes it is a physical thing happening, but for all the other cases, sometimes it's emotions, sometimes it's trauma. There's a number of things, and whatever it is, we can really zoom in and see what's going on from all levels there.
Yeah, I like those suggestions. I do the journaling and the writing down and then burn the list because you're thinking about it, there's the energy flowing from your brain out into your hand, you're writing it physically and you can do it in a strong sense, right, on the paper. And then you don't have to have anybody read it. It's just your own thoughts, your own feelings that you're putting there, and then you're able to just release it out into the ether, right?
Right.
Yeah.
That's the idea, is releasing it. And I've heard people say, well, won't that go out and poison other? No, it doesn't work that way.
No,
And if
no,
you're worried, you can send it into the ground. You can hold a little crystal or something if it's going to help you release more, whatever you need to do
right.
in that sense. So,
Yeah. Yep. So that's
um,
all very cool stuff. I mean, all I see are like colors and like the sun, it looks like in my eyes. So
yes.
it seems like it is, from what you're saying, in different sections, right? That it is sliced in different areas, meaning different things.
Absolutely. Let's see. I didn't pull up a screenshot of my actual iridology map. I should have done that. I have one right here, but I don't know if it shows on camera too much. But you can see, oh yeah, I'm not sure if you can see it too good.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Okay. Well, there is an entire map. You can easily Google iridology maps too, so you can get a better.
And it's actually on your website.
Yes, and it's on my website too. Good point.
Yep.
Um, but yeah, you can take a little look about all of that. I'll be coming out with a mini ebook thing, how to read your own eyes, for those that are just curious, want to dip your toe in the water and
Oh, that sounds
for
wonderful.
yourself too.
Yeah.
Otherwise, yeah, reach out to me anytime. But yeah, I want to look at a couple other things here too. Yeah, I love that you are. It's interesting. I look at a lot of different eyes, and over time, you get to know people's personalities, different strengths, different weaknesses, everything that makes them unique. Um, and it's perfect that you're doing something like this podcast because when I look in your cerebral area or your brain area up here, there is a lot of activity. I mean, we've got some lines over here, we've got a lot of different color pigments, lots happening, very highlighted, raised things here. Um, so this tells me you are more than likely a person that, I mean, constantly learning, constantly thinking about new things. It's like this brain never turns off.
Yes, I wish I had a switch sometimes because my brain goes in 360 directions all the time, it feels like.
Oh, I mean, absolutely. Even here, I'll show you what I'm kind of looking at here and do my best. I don't know if you see these circular rings right here.
Yeah.
They're kind of half rings, but some of them do extend around the entire iris. But up here, we're looking in the brain area or the cerebral area. It's really raised, and but these rings, they're like crampings on the iris fibers a lot of the time. Um, it all means something. It shows me too if you get really stressed, you probably deal with a lot of headaches or something like that because it's where a lot of the nervous tension lies. Any stress that we see will cramp those rings. But they mean more than just that. There's a lot of depth here. But for what I'm talking about here, there's a lot of activity up here. This shows me, yeah, you're a very smart person. It's almost like you do need an off switch sometimes because you're always thinking about this or that, learning this or that. So something like this podcast, what you're doing is absolutely perfect because it brings all the topics, all the different things you're constantly dabbling and diving
Right.
into there.
I know. You all get to teach me things.
I know. And then we get to listen to the other guests and learn from them too. I love it.
Yep.
Um, but yes, I see a very strong mind. Even your constitution. That's the other thing I like looking at too. When I start doing someone's iris reading, is I like to look at their constitutional makeup, meaning how strong is your body? How strong is your constitution? Like, what did you just inherit by default? Aside from however you've lived your life up to this point or done, what do you have as a baseline for a body? And it's really cool because when I look in your iris, you have kind of like a double constitutional thing happening where I see a lot of really thick, um, lots of very nicely woven iris fibers here, which show me you're someone that could keep going. You can take a hit and keep getting back up. You're not someone that stops and just lays down. You're that person dragging the broken leg to work kind of thing, saying, oh, but I got this to do still.
Yeah.
But you also, it's rare I see these two things together. You also have something I call an early warning constitution. So when I say that, I mean your body is really quick, more than likely to alert you if you've eaten anything that does not belong in there. Some people can eat like crap and smoke till they're 90 and be fine. Your body looks like it would alert you really quickly. I wouldn't be surprised if you are already aware of certain food sensitivities at this point.
Absolutely. Yes. I can eat something, and usually within 15 to 30 minutes, I know if there's a problem.
Yeah, yeah, that good old early warning system will let you know.
Oh, yeah.
And it's sometimes it can feel like a curse, I know for some, because it's like, ugh, I have to like take really good care of myself. I'm the same way. Um, but also it's cool because it doesn't allow us to go veer too far off the path. It's kind of something that keeps you online. And I see this in a lot of healers and people um that have some work here to do where yes, it's helping heal other people. Like you want to, it helps keep you in line with your purpose a lot of the time.
Yeah,
Um,
it is frustrating though, because I truly do envy those people that just can eat all kinds of pizza and junk food and just, enjoy such good food.
hmm
But
It's funny because I see early warning constitutions like you have. We usually come from people that were a lot like that.
oh yes.
It's almost like we come from DNA. I see this a lot of the time where it's just like people or the parents or even the grandparents before them, they just go, 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 never stop. They don't even deal with their emotions and feelings. Like, what are those? We just keep going, work, 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 work. And then they basically go until they blow, kind of a thing.
Mm,
Um, we are born with our early morning constitutions in the line as a blessing because the DNA, the genetics, they are tired of pushing forward and pushing through things. So that's why your body is actually wired to make you stop, sit, rest, even look at rest as a productive thing. Um, because a lot of the time we come from people that really it's it's deemed not productive. It's lazy.
right,
It's what do you
right.
mean you're not working? They're like, oh, you should be like all of us. But it's no, we are all completely different. And for some of us, rest is the most productive thing we can do. For most of us.
Yes,
Otherwise, you can keep going and you might birth someone with an early warning constitution system to help teach you that. So,
right.
um, but yeah, you've got a lot of fabulous, just different genetics here too. It's actually amazing. Um, One of the things that I'm curious about that if you did come into my office is I do you see some of these lovely little veins here? I know it's harder to see in this picture, but some of them kind of are pointing here. I see a couple more different,
Mm.
almost looks like electricity
Yeah,
running
I
through
do
the
see
eyes
that
and
a little
legs.
bit.
If I see this, I will usually ask someone, have you ever dealt with any autoimmune issues? Have you ever dealt with
Yes, yes, I definitely did. I was in a wheelchair at one point on our family vacation from autoimmune that nearly crippled me. So,
oh my goodness. Yeah. It's there are a lot of people that go undiagnosed with some of that. Once again, I'm not diagnosing anything and I can't. But it's funny how much inflammation we don't even realize is caused from that. And so many people go their whole life wondering why. And for you, I can definitely see a lot of that inflammation would collect. We're in the right eye here and more in this hip area. So that right hip would really just probably be sore during those times, I'd imagine too. Um,
yeah, I think I do feel, well, I feel some on my right side, but then also when I had my injuries and things that really got inflamed, it was on the left, like my left knee.
Interesting. It's a
But that
little
was
bit
kind of
blurry.
related. That was a little related to Lyme disease, that then the stress and everything else also spurred spondyloarthritis. So,
Yes, yes. Okay. Not very fun to deal with at all. You seem
mm.
like you're doing pretty good, though, for the most part.
It took me almost 3 years before, going through various different specialist doctors, then the holistic path to wellness that really helped. And again, the sensitivity that you talked about with foods and things. I just ended up learning about autoimmune nutrition and things I should be eating and not eating, and Lyme disease and things you should eat and not eat for that. So I became hyper aware of all the things that were being put in my body. I was surrounded by, toxins or anything like that. So,
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Well, that's amazing that you've already gone through so much of this and found so many solutions. And once again, you're sharing them here and in your newsletter that you write too. Yeah. Um, it's interesting too. A lot of the time I see it's the healers, it's the people that deal with the most issues that end up being the best healers a lot
because
of the
we can
time.
share and relate to those people that are going through various different issues that they don't even realize why they're going through them.
Right.
because they're just so used to going to, the doctor and they don't really get answers, or they're not as in tune maybe to things that are happening to them until you sometimes point out, like, hey, how do you feel when you eat this, right? Have you thought about that?
Mm-hmm.
And because it can
Right.
take up to 72 hours before you actually feel the effects. For some people, for me, it's within a half an hour to an hour at
Mm-hmm.
most, right? Other people, it could be days. So it makes it challenging for people to really understand how food is affecting them.
Yeah, and that's actually, believe it or not, that's like one of the main things when I'm even looking in eyes that I'm going to say, and I'm going to be brave and say over 90% of most issues and ailments and diseases stem from what we're putting in our body or what's been put in our body. Because a
Right.
lot of the time we're kids, we're just eating what our parents gave us. But yeah,
Yeah.
generations upon generations of consuming not natural things, it starts to change things. Um, but I
Absolutely.
genuinely, and you can see that too in the iris. You can even see how someone's colon forms. You can see the possibility for pockets, bowel pockets, um,
Wow.
all kinds of things. And that's a lot of the time when I'm seeing that. I should actually say that too about the liver and gallbladder. A lot of the time, liver and gallbladder issues are not just localized issues, they start from somewhere else. Um, I'll use your iris here as an example without my lovely chart. But inside here around the pupil is the known as the gastric area. Also, the intestines, there's several other different things. But along here, this lovely vein that circles the pupil, this is known as the collarette, and this tells me a lot about your central nervous system. But inside it, we can see all kinds of information about how the gastric tract forms. So a lot of the time, if I see a gallbladder issue, I will also look in the colon. I will look in the intestines. I'll look somewhere and see if I see any pockets or possibilities where things or strictures where things get a little bit tight, where
Mm.
food waste will just build up.
Yep.
And a lot of the time, that's what we see happening, whether it's in the transverse colon, the ascending or the descending, or wherever it may be. Um, yeah, your colon is an exit basically for everything we process. And what does not exit out properly gets circulated in the body. And the first place that it backwashes into tends to be the liver gallbladder for most people, most everyone, because all of our bodies, we may be different, but we're set up the same. We have the same organs.
Right.
Um, but a lot of the time, yes, it I see a lot of those old metabolic wastes clog up and back up into that area. And so I usually tell people too, if you are dealing with a liver gallbladder issue, maybe look at your colon genetics too. Maybe look into doing some sort of a cleanse. I'm not talking some crazy over the counter cleanse, but really cleaning up your diet and um, looking into some help with that because it'll help it clear up a lot faster because
It
usually the liver
does.
gallbladder it's a
Yeah.
symptom.
Like I've actually done some kind of detoxing in the last couple of weeks, and my pain that I was having has actually really subsided because it was like a daily, all day kind of pain.
Yeah.
And so now I can actually eat. Like I lost 10 pounds. It was crazy.
Wow. Yeah. And,
So,
and it's funny too because a lot of the time if it is a colon thing or things that need to exit, our body naturally doesn't it knows it not to eat and put more things in. So
yeah.
yeah, good job listening to your body. I'm sorry you dealt with all that pain, but I'm really glad you're feeling a lot better. And you're
Yeah.
proof once again that cleaning some things out, that can eliminate a lot of our symptoms, even more than just the liver gallbladder. So,
Right.
um, but yeah, yeah, I love looking at your eyes. I look at eyes all day, but you have just such a dynamic, fascinating blueprint going on here
It is
that's
interesting when you see it my eye like so very close up that there are, as you mentioned, so many different hues and colors. And I always thought my eyes were kind of brown, I guess, when I was younger, even though I wanted them to be hazel. And then I was like, I'm going to put hazel on my driver's license. And now I know for a fact that that's really true. But it's just interesting because it kind of looks like the sun or a planet
It does.
and all the rings around it. So it's a little universe. It's
It
like,
really is. It is your own universe. I think of it that way every time I'm looking in someone's eyes. I am looking into their universe. Um, it's like even what's behind me here. We have,
yeah,
I think this is known as the Helix Galaxy, but it looks like an iris. It's a literal universe.
totally.
And that's what ours are too. And no person has the same, there's no person that has the same eyes as another person. Um, Even our own two eyes are totally unique to each other. So not only do you just have one unique iris, you have two. I'll even show you here. So some of this is lighting, but you can see you definitely have some very different shapes going on. There's different colors in different places. Once again, different genetics. We're looking at the left eye, so it's everything from mom's side. It's all the feminine energy. It even shows us find a lot of like home and family situations and information regarding that tend to end up in that eye. But you can see it's totally different
Yeah.
than this eye that holds all of your father's genetics and all the masculine energies, even a lot of different types of career, things of that nature tend to be in this iris here too. So, but yeah, completely different. And yeah, it's cool though. I love doing iridology because it's never the same. I'm someone that gets bored easily.
Yeah.
I like doing so many things. I do a million different things. And as a kid, I always wondered, how am I not going to get bored of one thing? There's just too many things I enjoy. But this, oh my goodness, I never have a reading that's the same. It's always different. It's like diving into totally different universes.
I think
Um,
it's great. And
oh, I love it.
I love that you can see so much and get such different perspectives, all from even two different eyes of the same person, right?
Yes, because it makes your whole story too. I mean, we touched a little bit on some things here, but anything you'd ever want to know about yourself, and I mean anything, it's in there.
Or it can
It's
kind of tell you your purpose
yeah, absolutely.
or what you're good at, because you mentioned that it talks like it can show your personality, maybe your certain traits that you're good at.
Yes. Even your entire mental sphere and how it all operates too. In Egypt, in Egyptian times, pharaohs actually used iridology to discern who got what job in the courts. And yes, they really
That's
held it
smart.
in high esteem. Um, I'm thinking about even now how I can get into HR businesses for people that want to hire for certain things
Right?
because we can also see who would be in better positions for different analytical jobs or maybe more creative aspects of things. So,
That's fascinating. You can really tell all of that by just looking, like you have to look really close, obviously, at somebody's eye to really see what those
mhm.
traits would be that would suit them to this particular position versus a different position.
Yes, I would
Wow.
usually I like looking in the brain areas and different sections of, our brain run auditory, visual,
Yep.
even decision processing. We can also see how someone makes decisions because a lot of people make decisions based off of how they feel. It's their emotions that drive everything.
Right.
Nothing wrong with that. But there's also people that emotions psh, psh, they have nothing to do with the decision. They'll think about
Right.
something even if they feel about it, they'll only make it based off of the way they think. And then of course you have people that are in the middle. So there's all kinds of things we can read from
Wow.
the brain area alone. So
So should my job be an entrepreneur? Probably, I guess.
Honestly, you have the drive.
Yeah.
Looking this type of virus, I see this a lot of this coloring, a lot of similar patterns in people that have really high drive to do things. For instance, I see a lot of this. This is the iris I see a lot of the time, or different markings regarding very popular musicians, high end performers, people that end up being a very loud voice in public spaces. So, yes, entrepreneur, podcaster,
Actor,
creative
speaking.
individual. I
Yeah.
mean, that's something else I see going on in there. You have some dormant music talent there, it looks like. Well, maybe not dormant. You're probably aware of some of your music
Yeah, I gotta
talent.
get more into my sound bowls. I'm trying every day, working on it
Yes.
more and more and more. Yeah. I just gotta, give it some more love and share.
Yeah. Just do it for yourself, just for fun.
Yeah. I mean, I
Um,
want to do it for other people. I think they enjoy it.
yeah, I mean, even if you did a little video, put some videos up on here with it,
Right?
because that's also very useful. I tell people a lot whenever I'm doing iridology, sound bowls, meditation,
Yes, my sound bowl.
vibration. It's You can literally tune your organs up by using certain sounds or tunes. So,
And I have been doing my sound bowls, which probably has also helped. So,
yes.
yeah.
Yeah, everything carries a frequency. A healthy, happy liver has a very specific frequency. Cancer has a specific frequency.
Yeah.
Um, and certain sound bowls, certain things match that of healthy organs. That's why sound healing is becoming more popular, because people are actually they're getting great
Healed,
results from
right?
it.
Yeah,
So,
we can't say healed, I suppose, but yeah, they are feeling way better from their experience and releasing, I feel like, a lot of built up anger, frustration, traumas. It's healing.
absolutely. That's actually why I originally named my practice I Song, because it's my intention to put out different frequencies, different meditations, different sound healings.
Love that.
So, because I do herbalism, I have my master's in herbalism, and we can talk about all that stuff too. But I really believe a lot of powerful healing comes from sound, from music. And so,
Yes.
um, we'll be putting more of those out this year.
Nice. I love that. That's awesome. This has been great.
Yeah, thank you so much for being open and for letting me read some of your eyes here. Yeah, once again, it's not everything. It's like your eye, it's an entire universe. It's one big library. Um, and so when people come and they get their eye reading, they're like, "How do you know what to read?" And I'll usually start with whatever books in that library are falling out first, like read me now kind of a thing. Um, but just because that's what we're reading, that's not all that's there. So I have
Right.
people that like coming back several different times after they've worked on a little something, they want to keep diving deeper. So it's really fun. It's a very fun and rewarding career.
I
So
love it. I absolutely love it. I think that your insight has been spot on for several things. So it truly is, your eyes are the window to the soul.
they absolutely are. The windows to the soul, the physical, the mental, the emotional, the spiritual, all of it.
Absolutely. This has been awesome. So thank you, Genevieve, for going through and sharing my innermost, I don't know, my innermost being with others on
Of
my,
it.
on what's happening, which is kind of fascinating. So everyone gets a little insight into what they can expect when they get a reading with you.
Mhm.
And of course, we're going to have you back again because I definitely want to talk more about your herbology
Yeah,
and how we can just use some herbs for healing as well and just all their benefits. So we'll dive into that more so when it gets a little bit warmer and we can talk about planting some seeds.
Oh, yes. Perfect. Perfect. I look forward to it.
And so, where can everyone find you, Genevieve? I will post all of your stuff in the show notes as well. But if you just want to let everybody know, you're
Sure. Yeah, so you can find me at my website, www.isonghealth, I as in EYE, because a lot of people write iSong like iPhone or something. I don't know. isonghealth.com. I also have Instagram, Facebook under all those handles. But yeah, feel free to reach out to me. I'd be more than happy to answer any questions. There were some that didn't get answered today, or read your eyes. So,
definitely reach out to Genevieve. She knows her eyes, or your eyes, she will know. And I encourage everybody to check out our Limitless Ladies Network website where we have various different blog posts. This podcast will be shown there. It's also on our YouTube channel, which you can find. Also, follow us on Facebook and on LinkedIn as well. And you will find that there's going to be a couple of events coming up that I'm hosting for limitless living around working with the lunar cycles and how we can be successful in that. And also digging a little bit into how we can sleep better, because that is the root of our health, really. If we're not sleeping, then we're not striving for success. So please follow us.